we can just kind of kick this thing off. So, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Community Call. It's been a couple of weeks since the last one, and I know we've been doing these a little bit more sparingly, mostly because we have been heads down working on Pirex ETH and getting it ready for launch. So, in between, we don't want to divert a ton of resources into other things if we can avoid it, mostly because Pirex ETH is a big launch. We only have so many devs and we need people focusing on that. So that said, we do have a few things to update everybody on, but we can probably start with, okay, yeah, Never's fixing an issue. Yeah, we are speaking. We could probably start with a few of the questions around this current convex vote and how that might affect Pirex convex. So for those of you not familiar, there is a vote on the convex snapshot right now. I don't fully understand it. Funky, you probably better understand it than me. But the summary says, remove VLCVX from CVX staking and remove CVX CRV rewards, and then give the undiluted 4.5% of curve fees to stake CVX. I saw a couple of people, I don't know if it was in the Pirex channel or the speculator channel or the general channel, I can't really remember, but I saw a few people speculating on how that might affect Pirex convex, and I saw Never and Funky hop in and kind of address some of those concerns. So Funky, I don't know if you want to give a sort of TLDR of what's going on there, how that may or may not affect Pirex convex or anything like that.
So yeah, this is kind of a interesting proposal that dropped. This could be a long one to strap in, boys and girls. So basically, to give a idea as to what's happening right now. So when you have convex, you can lock it for VLCVX, and when you have VLCVX, you benefit from two different types of potential rewards. The first is what they call platform fees, where you get CVX curve and CVX FXS. It's like around 1 to 2% APR. And then the second benefit is that you can direct curve emissions by voting for gauges with VLCVX. You can also stake your CVX, which means you can stake it and unstake it as quickly as you like, and you get the platform fees of 1 to 2%. So with this proposal, the main idea behind this proposal is to make it so that VLCVX does not get the platform fees anymore. And the idea, I think, behind that is that they want to give more utility to non-locked CVX. And I think that the high-level thinking behind that is that by increasing the yield to people who stake, you'll have fewer people who are locked, and therefore locked CVX will get more CVX emissions to direct, so it should have higher bribes. But overall, I think the idea is to just make CVX more useful, perhaps push up the price, etc. What that means for Redacted and PXCVX, PXCVX will basically be unchanged. At the moment, all the platform fees are taken as a fee by Redacted, so basically virtually no change there. PXCVX will probably be more useful because it'll have more CVX and curve to direct via gauges, but for Redacted, because we would lose the platform fees, the platform yield fees, we take quite a hit on the PXCVX product because the platform fees make they make a good proportion of our PXCVX fee income. Yes, that's kind of, that's TLDR.
I would say, probably TVL and VLCVX is just going to be completely DAOs at that point, where we actually care about the governance. There's definitely a negative impact on retail that was locking just to get in some yield, but now they can just get the same from staking CVX. Let's see how it plays out. I mean, as the DAO goes into more of a position of us buying being like more of like on the buy side of governance power as we roll out like liquidity intensive products like Dinero and PXE. I think we probably we're going to move away from just using it as a revenue source and more as like a second order revenue source by bribing and voting for our own pools, for our own products.
I think, yeah, VSPAX made a question, what are the odds of passing the proposal? I mean, currently there's an overwhelming yes vote, 8.7 million votes. I don't, so there's still like, I think it's like a week, I think they posted yesterday. Like, yeah, so there's like 4 days left of voting. And I think there will be a higher turnout. I think not enough people are talking about this as you'd expect, but I think there'll be a big turnout because it impacts the yield on VLCVX. And what this proposal basically does is it kind of like takes value away from the longer term aligned CVX holders and gives it to people who are short term or not even inside, like not aligned with CVX at all. So basically what's happening is they're taking, a set amount of rewards which were basically only given to VLCVX, and then now they'll be spreading it to more people. So if you're VLCVX, on a whole, you'll probably, on a whole, you will lose yield. You will lose yield. Because
Yeah.
you can imagine that a lot of the CVX which is sitting idle now will all be staked. There's no reason to not be staked. Previously, the staking was so little that the staking will go up. So CVX, which isn't in the LP, will probably all be staked. So you're sharing the total rewards with more people. So it seems kind of weird that people are voting for this because they're voting to make themselves poorer. So that's why I think a lot of people will turn up in the next few days because when it has to do with money, people will turn up like the Prisma vote, for example.
Yeah, I mean, I think they were thinking about it from like the first effects of like if you make it an investable token, right, in the liquid form, then people would want to farm it more, which then increases the TVL of Curve as a DEX. But then if you're hurting the real people that are pushing people to like actually incentivize Curve, I don't know if that helps everyone.
Gotcha. Yeah, so we'll see how it turns out as it stands. No like immediate action on Pyrex Convex or anything like that, and it seems like the current vote is in favor, but like Funky said, there's not a ton of people talking about it right now. And I will admit, like the proposal itself reads, or on Snapshot at least, it like reads a little bit ambiguous. I don't think the average like CVX holder is going to be able to read it and immediately understand like how that affects them or doesn't affect them. So give it time. Yeah, wait for the threadors to get their hands on it and make it known to the public, and then we'll see how it shakes out. But yeah, hopefully that answers people's sort of immediate concerns on that. But pivoting from Pyrex Convex to Pyrex GMX, I do believe we might have a change coming relatively soon that will require some manual activity from users. So I don't know, Karn, if you're the best person to explain what we're kind of planning on doing there.
Yeah, I mean, like this isn't like a super big surprise or something. Like it's something that everyone's asked for, and it made a lot of sense. It's to route the auto compounding of APX GMX with additional route of like buying it up from secondary, right? So like you can always buy a new GMX and deposit, or if it's cheaper, just on the DEX and buy it from the DEX and yeah, it will be the most efficient way to auto compound and also help with the peg situation of PXGMX. But what this does mean is that the previous APX GMX vault, it wouldn't be able to we can't upgrade it this way. So we're probably going to spin up a new version of the vault, and the old one will probably still work, but again, it wouldn't benefit from this smart routing system. The exact time of deployment, I think, is a better question for Never or somebody from the dev team. If you know when this is going to happen?
Yeah, I think at this point we just kind of actually have to just push it out. We got it audited a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, so it's just getting comms and whatever ready, docs, and then shipping.
Yeah. So again, it'll require like users to actually do something. So you'll have to kind of migrate to the new contracts, I assume. And so yeah, we'll make sure that when we do push it live, it won't be like a random thing. Everybody will be well aware of what they need to do. Fortunately, like PXGMX isn't like a huge amount of TVL. We have to try to like move over. Like it's not thousands of users we have to try to convince to move over or anything like that. So I think it should be relatively straightforward. And then I also think this is going to end up being a really positive change for PXGMX because, like Karn said, this is something that people have been requesting for a while now, and this is all based on user feedback. So it'll be good to make those changes and hopefully bring in some new users, some new TVL to PyreXGMX. Cool. Is there anything else on the Pyrex front that wasn't covered that we need to cover? Or are we good there? Or does anybody have any questions? Good. All right, sweet. Moving on to Hidden Hand, I think all is relatively normal in the land of Hidden Hand. However, we've seen sort of like normal bribe volume. I think ultimately, we're in a bear market still, and it's not very fun, but we're still seeing good bribe numbers, specifically from Balancer and Aura, which is very positive. And of course, our relationship with both of those teams is very good. I don't think there's a ton to add as far as like pending changes or anything like that. However, we are working on this new thing that I believe Karn kind of teased in the last community call. To my knowledge, it is getting closer and closer to being ready to go. When we're going to launch it, I'm not totally sure. I think this is actually something we want to launch directly with partners. But Karn, that was about 2 weeks ago now. I don't know if you've refined your pitch a little bit, but if you want to kind of like give a short overview of what it is again, that'd be cool. Don't say the name though.
Okay. Yeah, wiping the name from my brain. So yeah, maybe like to share a little more about it. Like a couple of things I think we managed towards the end last time was that it's supposed to help BE token holders be able to just automate a lot of things related to voting process, claiming all the rewards, and if they choose to auto compound. Like all these are sort of like basic features, but they're kind of missing from a lot of these various VE token systems. Like they thought about the token, they thought about the mechanics, but they didn't set up like easy management solutions. Although like sort of like wink wink, like that like Velodrome's been teasing like a vote manager system. So without giving too much away, like if you just take a look at that and see like all the things that comes with, it will be 90%, I think, roughly what you would expect from us. Of course, like we're aiming to do things like try to make this a little more coherent with the other products we have as well. Like this is sort of like crossing the middle grounds of like Hidden Hand and Pirex, because like okay, here's just me rambling for a minute, right? Like if Hidden Hand is like the marketplace where the bribers and voters meet, so we added a lot of advanced features for the bribers, right, with the recurrent bribes and also the limit bribes. But to make sure this marketplace is highly efficient and as soon as the bribers come in, like they will expect the voters to take notice of the bribes and start like voting that way. Otherwise, like the bribes are wasted. And where I'm going with that is like things like this new unnamed thing that we're going to push out. It will also add to the moat of Hidden Hand, right? Because like we'll make sure that all the voters who've delegated their voting power to us, we get them the best rewards, but also that means that the bribers got the most fair amount of votes for the amount that they bribed. So yeah, not, to my knowledge, any other voting marketplace comes with this feature. So, at the end of the day, all these products, our goal is to make sure that they come together and like enhance each other. They're not just there as like, simple standalones because we think they're nice. No, like they're, fingers crossed, is a bigger purpose behind them all. Okay, end rant.
Sick. So hopefully yeah, and never go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say this just yeah. I mean, we definitely promote ourselves to be at this point. I think we get closing in on voting. It's like the biggest like incentives market in crypto. But can't stay on your laurels. And even though volumes are down, I think making sure that when liquidity comes back, that we have the best feature set and most stable product where incentives and users can meet will put us in a good forward to make sure Hidden Hand keeps its moat and still leads the pack.
Yeah, and I see the win question. I think the last time we had this conversation kind of internally, I think we're waiting on a particular partner to launch with. So we need them to also be ready to launch this thing, because if you just kind of like launch it without a partner, then I don't know, it just kind of sits there and nobody's using it. So we're waiting on a launch partner to be ready. Once they're ready, I believe we'll kind of push it out and go from there. So no hard date or anything like that, of course, but once we have obviously more insight, we'll share that, and then once we're ready to launch, we'll just launch it, and it'll be with a partner, so that way there'll be a user ready to go on day one. I'll wait for a second for any questions. We might be good though. Cool. So moving on, we're doing really good on time here. This one's probably going to be a relatively short one, but we can probably briefly cover where we're at on Pirex ETH. So Never, I don't know if you want to give a little brief technical update on where we're at there.
Yeah, right now we're focused on basically our core product was finished, and now we're like just optimizing speeds of like startups and start downs, since it's a pretty deep system of like 1% deposits, then all the way in the back, like somewhere in the world, a validator gets spun up, right? So yeah, improving speeds there, and hopefully we have a DevNet coming up in the next couple of days, so that like the team can check QA everything, and then in the next week or two, kind of give it to the people to go test, make sure that it's resilient. Yeah, with the things the way markets are going, it actually, and the scale of the product, stability beats everything. And then yeah, once we've proven stable, then we let the market stay over.
Yeah, sweet. And just a reminder for everybody, like we are going to do a public testnet first. So the first, like the sort of first announcement you'll see about Pirex ETH will be testnet related. So everybody will be able to get their hands on the test product first, give us feedback, allow us to make adjustments, see how it works in the wild, and then we'll actually do the full rollout. So because like Never said, like stability is going to be extremely important. Making sure that things aren't confusing for users is going to be extremely important. And then making sure we understand how users interact with the system in the wild is going to be important. That way we can onboard people as easily as possible, because at the end of the day, there's a lot of people competing in the liquid staking token sort of space, and we want to make sure that Pirex ETH is as easy to use and as easy to understand as possible, because sometimes you really only get one chance at converting users, especially in a competitive marketplace. So we just want to make sure we get that right and there's no issues. Yeah, so we're at 20 minutes ish right now. I know it's been really short, but we'll kind of give some people an opportunity to ask any questions here at the end, and then we'll give people time back on their Friday. Joker asks, what has been the response / feedback on the PX ETH proposal to Mantle? I actually don't know. I think Terrence is kind of leading the conversation there. Okay, yeah, here he is.
Hey. Yeah, the conversation is still going on with Mantle. We're going back and forth because we've also applied for some grants to get some other things set up on Mantle. But yeah, we're coming to some agreements with them. We don't want to ship any vote until we have enough stakeholder consensus behind us. So soon.
Sweet. Cool. Any other questions that anybody has before we head into the rest of our day here? Good. Joker's typing. I don't know if Joker's trolling me or if he actually has a question. I'll wait a second. Might be getting trolled.
Probably one thing. During the testnet, we'll be doing like a bug bounty program. So if any of you guys are like engineers or hackers,
Yeah, if there's any
free.
devs in the audience,
please.
maybe Mole will do it. I see Mole in the audience. It'll be Mole trying to hack the system. Yeah, I don't know if we have any devs, so yeah, if we're gonna do a little bit of a bug bounty, we'll do some announcements. So if any of you have any hacker types in your network, just make sure to share that with them. Again, this testnet launch that's coming up really soon is sort of designed to hopefully break it before we go live and not afterwards. Cool. Well, if there is nothing else super important that anybody has to ask, we can wrap this one up. It was a quick one, I know, but hopefully relatively soon we'll have some big announcements for you guys. I tried to make sure we teased everything we could, and yeah, just know that behind the scenes we have a lot of big stuff in the works, and hopefully soon we can get it out for everybody to use. So appreciate you all taking the time to come hang out with us as always, and we will see you on the next one. Peace out, everybody.
Peace.